Hello everybody, and we're going to do a few examples of problems involving angles of elevation. We're going to find either angles, we're going to find sides, heights, distances between two objects. Look at number 1 here. The angle of elevation from point A to the top of the hill is 49 degrees. If point A is 400 feet from the base of the hill, how high is the hill? Well, if we look at this as a right triangle and use our trig functions, we see we're dealing with the sides opposite over adjacent, and that is the tangent. So we can set up our tangent equation like this. Tangent 49 equals some unknown value over 400. Okay, using a little bit of algebra, we'll move the 400 to the other side, and then we have 400 tangent 49. Putting that in our calculator and rounding it to the nearest whole number comes out to 460. And we are using feet, and the angle, the hill is 460 feet based on this problem. Alright, next up, find the angle of elevation of the sun when a 12.5 meter tall telephone pole casts an 18 meter long shadow. So once again, we have opposite over adjacent. We are dealing with tangent, but we're trying to find this unknown angle. Tangent of x, this unknown angle x is 12.5 over 18. Okay, and here we're trying to find the angle. We need to sort of undo the tangent. Tangent inverse allows us to do that. And tangent inverse will simply swap these two coordinates, the x and the quantity 12.5 over 18. So tangent inverse 12.5 over 18. And in our calculator, plug that in, make sure your scientific calculator is in degrees. It comes out to 35 degrees. And there's our angle of elevation. Number 3, a ladder leaning against the building makes an angle of 78 degrees with the ground. The foot of the ladder is 5 feet from the building. How long is the ladder? If we look at the picture, the ladder ends up being the hypotenuse of a right triangle. We have 5 as the adjacent side. So when we're dealing with adjacent and hypotenuse, we are dealing with cosine. Our equation we set up is cosine of 78 equals unknown x, or I'm sorry, 5 would be the top of the fraction, over unknown x. A little bit of algebra, we can swap around and solve for x. X is 5 over cosine of 78. And in our calculator, if you take 5 divided by the cosine of 78, it comes out to 24. The ladder is 24 feet. Okay, and our last one, a person whose eyes are 5 feet above the ground is standing on the runway of an airport 100 feet from the control tower. That person observes an air traffic controller at the window of a 132-foot tower. What is the angle of elevation? So again, we're finding an unknown angle. What we're dealing with is the opposite and adjacent, so tangent comes into play. Tangent of an unknown angle is equal to opposite over adjacent. Okay, now the diagram and the paragraph explain that it's 132 feet tall. However, the person is 5 feet and their eyes are 5 feet above the ground. So if we take 132 minus 5, we end up with 127. That's the actual opposite side we're dealing with. Still over 100. Once again, tangent inverse. Swap around the two, 127 over 100. And in our calculator, that will give us x. And rounded to the nearest degree, the angle of elevation is 52 degrees.